Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Michelle and today we're going to be talking about the perfect pairings between MBTI types. Now, you guys may recall this time last year, up there if you'd like to check it out, I made a video where I talked about how to find your perfect match in MBTI, in which I mentioned that there is no way to use MBTI to find your perfect match. But the good news is today we're not talking about finding a perfect match. We're talking about what are the most iconic matches in MBTI. Should you use this to determine who you want to date? Probably not. Have people use this? Oh yeah, for sure. But today I want to talk about some iconic pairing matchings and why they work so well together, despite maybe not seeming like they should. So let's go ahead and just talk about some iconic pairings of personality types. So first and foremost, am I gonna mention it because it's my relationship pairing or because it's like the most memed personality pairing in the whole entire internet? Yes, and yes. ENFP and INTJ, such an iconic pairing. Why is that? Well, the ENFP wants to bring all the mushy-gushy feelings out of the INTJ, and the INTJ wants to bring law and order to the ENFP, except they both love living in that metaphysical realm, the realm of ideas and concepts and theories and thoughts and the future and the world, and we love these big picture thoughts and we always like to talk philosophically. It's great. It's great. It's a great pairing. Some potential pitfalls, however, ENFPs can be a little flighty. We can be a little all over the place. Maybe push a little too many buttons on the INTJ, just like a little bit. And the INTJ can really great at the ENFP, especially when they're being constructive criticism-y, when it doesn't feel all that constructive. But it's overall pretty great. Just know it's not the easiest thing in the world, and it takes continual effort on both ends to maintain a positive relationship. Newsflash, relationships over time are actually kind of difficult because it requires good communication. That being said, let's talk about the next couple pairing. We have basically the same one, except the sensor version, ESFP and ISTJ. This pairing is just as iconic as ENFP and INTJ, except they're the sensor version, so they're more in reality. The ESFP is trying to bring the ISTJ out of its little mushy-gushy shell and trying to show all the emotions that it has and help it feel, and I'm saying it as if the ISTJ has no gender. Well, maybe it has no gender, I don't know. But at that point, wouldn't it be a zer or they? Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. The ESFP is trying to bring out the mushy-gushy feelings of the ISTJ, and the ISTJ is trying to bring some law and order to the ESFP. Now, that being said, they like to live in reality. They like to live in the real world. The ESFP is going to want to be a little bit more practical. The ISTJ is going to want to be a little bit more practical, both in the topics that they bring up, but also actually using the information to do something about it instead of just talking about it. They're doers. They are the doers, while the ENFP, INTJ are the thinkers. So, that being said, it's an iconic pairing. It's going to have a lot of the same pitfalls of the other relationships, so I'm not going to repeat myself here, but in case you skipped because you just wanted to see, basically the ESFP is going to get a little bit tiresome for the ISTJ because of all the energy, the need to socialize, and the sheer chaotic nature of it, and the ISTJ is going to really frustrate the ESFP trying to constrict and control their life. It's a great time. It's a great time. I mean, once you can get past that, and again, like I said, the constant communication and willingness to grow in your relationship is definitely required, but it is such an iconic pairing. It's such a great pairing, and I have seen so many ESFP ISTJ couples. It's a great, and it's in a lot of shows and anime too. It's just like an iconic pairing. Anyway, moving on to the next couple pairing, we have ENFJ and INFP. This is probably also a very memed relationship, but I'm going to talk about exactly why it's so effective. So the ENFJ loves to talk about feelings, to help other people process their feelings, to help people feel better and improve their mood. And the INFP is somebody who really spend a lot of time in their feelings. They really develop their feelings. They're trying to understand and make sense of their feelings. And the ENFJ helps them come out of their shell. The ENFJ really brings the INFP out of their shell, and the INFP helps the ENFJ actually process the emotions. ENFJs have this thing where they don't necessarily process the emotions per se. They try to get past the emotions. They try to get to a place of more positivity. Whereas the INFP can really like revel in the feelings. I mean, especially a 4 INFP, but that's besides the point. Some potential pitfalls will be when the ENFJ tries to push the INFP to share too many of their feelings, and when the INFP closes off to the ENFJ. That's going to be where your biggest problems come, because communication, like I said, is so vital. And that's where the two of them can get a little caught up, get a little inside their heads, and be pretty bad at communication. But if you can overcome that as an INFP-ENFJ relationship, it's gonna be phenomenal. You guys are going to really help one another balance each other out. It can be a really beautiful relationship. Could also be really hard. So just keep that in mind. They can be one of the most volatile of the whole list. Yes, they can be. Next, we have INFJ and ENTP. Like the ENFP and INTJ, they really balance each other out. The ENTP is all bubbly, full of information, wanting to learn, wanting to explore, and the INFJ is wanting to compress all that information into nice, neat little packaged bows. And they really do well for each other. The ENTP brings in all the new spicy information, and the INFJ is like, perfect, let me add that and let me take that, and here you go. It's beautiful and perfect, don't you think? They make such a wonderful couple. I almost argue that they make a better couple than the INTJ ENFP, because they can actually create profound theories together. They can create profound things together. And it's a really beautiful relationship to behold. They both have that extroverted feeling, so they're really caring about each other's feelings. However, here's where some potential pitfalls may come. You guys know this about ENTPs, but maybe they're not always the most tactful of people, and they don't always know exactly how they feel about things. And that can be a little frustrating for an INFJ, because they care so much about what other people are feeling. And when the ENTP continues to say they're fine and yet is throwing a temper tantrum, the INFJ is like, clearly you're not fine. So again, communication. ENTPs, just express that emotion, share it with your INFJ friend, lover, and romantic partner. And INFJs, it's okay. The ENTP isn't always going to know how they feel. It's going to be kind of frustrating at times, but it'll be okay. Another potential pitfall, ENTPs being all over the place, being crazy, being a little chaotic. The INFJ doesn't really like being chaotic, so it can be another potential pitfall. But again, like I said, I think it can be one of the most powerful couples of all of them if it's done well and you guys communicate and have a strong commitment to each other to continue to grow and self-develop. Next up on our list is ESTP, ISFP. Now wait, I know, that's a weird pairing because they are in socionics, this is called the supervisory relationship. The ISFP is the ESTP supervisor. However, it is weirdly common to be a couple pairing. I have met a lot of ESTPs who are dating ISFPs or married to ISFPs, and it just, for some reason, works. The ESTP gets the freedom to do what they want with somebody who's also going to enjoy a lot of the same activities. They're going to want to go to shows, they're going to go out, they're going to want to eat really good food, they're going to want to enjoy their life and have fun. So they're going to get along in that aspect, and I think that's why they're so drawn to each other. And the ISFP is very willing to help the ESTP learn about their feelings, because like the ENTP, the ESTP kind of doesn't always know how they feel about things. So the ISFP is always trying to pull that out, trying to gather that from the ESTP. And that actually could be both the greatest strength of the relationship and also the greatest weakness. That can go very, very wrong. Because again, in socionics, it's a relationship of supervisory, which means that the ISFP actually is the supervisor of the ESTP. They have FI as their lead, which is the other's blind. So it can be really frustrating for an ISFP to be with an ESTP because the ESTP doesn't have strong opinions about how they feel about things. But if the ISFP can accept the TI reasoning, the thinking reasoning, they can get along and have fantastic relationships, very long term. They both want to kind of settle down but have fun, and they find that in one another, and it can be very, very successful. could also be chaotic, it could also be painful, but it could also be really good. Again, communication, setting boundaries, especially for this kind of couple pairing, is going to be really important. You got to set your boundaries, you got to know what's important to you, especially ESTPs. I know it's hard for you, but you got to do it. It can be such a great relationship. Anyway, let's move on. This is such an iconic couple. And at first I was kind of like, this doesn't make that much sense. They're exact opposites, right? They're exact opposites in every way. The INTP and ESFJ. I have seen so many of this pairing. I think that why this works is because the INTP just really wants to hunker down somewhere where they're safe and comfortable and taken care of so that they can really delve into their mysteries. They can really delve into all the things they want to learn and all the things they want to study. And the ESFJ creates space for that. The ESFJ is a caregiver. They love to take care of other people. They're going to make sure that the INTP has everything that they need and then some. They really are going to take care of that inferior FE as well. INTPs, not the best at processing emotions, not the best at knowing how they feel. The ESFJ is going to help the INTP get over emotional swings. It's going to be a very positive pairing. Potential pitfalls. The ESFJ is a very traditional person. I mean, in general. Are they going to be traditional in terms of society's version of tradition? Maybe not, but they themselves are going to be quite traditional. And the INTP, not so much. INTPs kind of rebel against tradition to a certain degree, so this could be a potential pitfall for the relationship. Also, INTPs can be very withdrawn and lack emotional expression. For an ESFJ, it can be really hard to understand someone if they're not expressing themselves verbally and emotionally. So that could be a potential pitfall, but if the INTP really makes a commitment to share what they're feeling and share what they're thinking with the ESFJ, phenomenal relationships can be built off of this. Then we have ESTJ and ISFJ. This pairing works for a myriad of reasons, but one of the main reasons is they're both relatively traditional. They both want to fit this stereotypical role in a relationship. These two types, more than any other of the types that we've talked about, really want to fit into the classic role. The ESTJ, whether female or male, is going to want to take their role as a female or male in the relationship. And same with the ISFJ. Especially ESTJ male and ISFJ female, incredibly functional. I'm sure it would work the other way. I just don't really know that many in the other direction. It's possible that they might actually reverse roles in the other direction. I don't know, but they do tend to be some of the most traditional of the MBTI types. And because of this, they actually make very strong pairing. They're both going to be very organized. They're both going to want to keep their lives clean and without chaos and without a whole lot of drama. They're not going to want a lot of drama. They're going to talk to each other about all their friends. They're going to have lots of opinions about all their friends and what all their friends are doing and whether or not they like it. But at the end of the day, they're going to come home, they're going to feel very satisfied that they're in a relationship with someone who understands what they want, and they're going to get along really well. Potential pitfalls? Again, it's a relationship of supervisory, especially the ESTJ. The ESTJ is the supervisor over the ISFJ, which means there's going to be some times when it feels like the TE, that extroverted thinking, is slapping the ISFJ all over the face. When they're in a fight, I would believe that this is the most volatile, where the ESTJ is really breaking the ISFJ apart. And I know that sounds terrible, but it could be really, really painful. And I don't mean volatile as in throwing fists, throwing things across the room. I mean as in worst possible pain. It could be very painful, especially for the ISFJ. However, again, when it comes to communication, making sure to set those boundaries, ISFJs, being firm about your boundaries and how the ESTJ talks to you, especially when the ESTJ is mad, or being able to, not do that as an ESTJ. You ESTJs can be fun, bubbly, excitable, all of that stuff. Don't be rude to your ISFJ, respect your ISFJ, and have good communication. And then, finally, the final type pairing of all of them, the ENTJ, ISTP. The The ENTJ ISTP seems like a little bit of a weird pick, and yes, they were kind of the only two left. So I've been trying to think exactly how this would work. I couldn't really think of who either type would really fit best with. But then the more and more that I thought about it, the more that this makes sense. The ENTJ, they're going to be the kind of person with a lot of goals and want to accomplish that goal and actually have the force and willpower to accomplish that goal. The ISTP wants to be able to do their own thing and just live their life. However, when in a relationship, the ISTP is going to be incredibly loyal. ISTPs are probably one of the most loyal of all the personality types. It's funny. It's a funny thing. They're very loyal. They have very strong, I wouldn't say it's values so much as code. They have like a code of how they are. And when they really, really love someone, they will protect that person at all costs. That also means they're gonna help that other person. And I believe that this would be a really healthy relationship if the ENTJ and ISTP are working together towards a common goal. However, could be pretty hard because the TE against the TI gonna have some conflicting times. However, I think the ISTP could really help the ENTJ hone in and perfect their plans and how to actually action the plan. I think that this would be a very good pairing. Am I as confident in this one as the other ones? I mean, not really. But at the end of the day, again, same with all of them, communication is 100% key. 100% key. That's it, my friends. That's the most iconic MBTI pairings out there. Yes, the last one's a little bit slapped together. It's the last two that are left, but I feel so confident about the others that I feel like this has to work in some way. And if you know an ENTJ ISTP couple, I would love to know. If it's been really bad, let me know down below as well. What do you think are the most iconic MBTI pairings? What do you think fit the best? And what do you think might be their potential pitfalls? Let me know down in the comments, and while you're down there, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. If you want to support me and this channel and what I do here, you can go ahead and head to buymeacoffee.com/heartofmichi will be linked down below, where you can do a one-time submission of your cash dollars to support me in what I'm doing. With all that being said, regardless of what you do, I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a beautiful, amazing, fantastic day. Bye!